Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here on this cool Wednesday morning, October the 26th. And folks, October about to wrap it up. Our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at 767-5500. Principal Mike Capt installed, and the whole staff will be glad to help you if you get out there and visit with them. High today, 80 or 81 degrees. Low tonight will be around 61, and water temperature remains at 76 degrees. A boating forecast. It's going to be coming out of the east now, but it's going to switch around today, start coming out of the south. That's a major switch for us, and seas 1 to 2, and a light chop on protected water. It'll be a really good day to be on the water. The river readings haven't changed all summer, all fall. We're looking at Apalachicola at a 0.4, and the Choctawhatchee at Caryville, we're looking at a 0.2. That's amazing. That the river just haven't had much flow at all with the rivers this year. I have Blair Morgan on the phone. We're going to talk about the river in just a second. But before we do that, let's look at our tide chart brought to us by Carl Vernon. This is some good news for outdoorsmen. Look at the strong tides we're facing at the 26th and 27th and on into the weekend. And we're looking at low tide now this morning at 5:49 and high tide at 8:46. So the tide is coming in all day. It's going to be incoming. So excellent time to get on the water. All right, I'd like to talk to Captain Blair Morgan with Blue Water Outriggers. He runs Blue Water Charters, and this is sponsored by Blue Water Outriggers. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How are you?
We're doing good, buddy. What's going on down around Apalachicola and St. Joe?
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of fishing going on. The bay out here, just not many people at all fishing out here, so I really don't know nothing about St. Joe Bay, but I do know I talked to some people that caught quite a few pompano last weekend around the stump over here fishing off the surf.
Yeah.
Said they had a lot of whiting mixed in with them. And so there are some people from Oklahoma that wanted to fish out of kayaks, and they asked me where to go, and I told them to go over to Indian Bayou and fish the mouth of those creeks. And I saw them actually stop by the raw bar. They thanked me. They said, "Man, thanks for your information. It really worked." And they caught some real nice redfish over there. But
what were they fishing with, Blair?
They was fishing a fluke.
Okay.
And I showed them how to rig up a fluke, which they'd never heard of it, from Oklahoma. But it worked for them. They had some, that were too big, and then they had some in the slot limit.
Well, I know they had fun catching out of that kayak.
Oh, yeah.
Especially coming from Oklahoma.
Yeah, they did. They had a ball. And I tell you, I went to Depot Creek Saturday crappie fishing. I never caught one. And I about thinking I don't know how to freshwater fish anymore. But then I went to, I was up around Smith Creek Monday and Fort Gaston Creek, and I saw quite a few people up there fishing for them, and nobody really had anything. They had, 3 small ones or something. But there's just no current up there right now. Everything's just kind of stagnant.
Well, I think the river's just not right because the weather's been ideal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the weather was beautiful, but the river's just not right. It's just not getting it right now. And as far as deer hunting, of course, bow season opened last weekend, and I have not seen the first deer on the back of a truck yet. But I know we went to a ball game Friday night in Tallahassee, and coming back, it was like an obstacle course, trying to miss the deer on the side of the road. They were everywhere, down Highway 20 and then 65.
Yeah.
So they were feeding right around midnight.
Yep.
Kind of like they knew the season was open the next morning, so they were going to eat around midnight, and they were going to sleep the next day.
Well, all right, buddy. Sounds good.
All right.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Captain Blair Morgan there in the woods and the waters in our eastern viewing area. Let's take our first break, and we'll be back with our special guest.
Panama City living is simply better without glasses. The Eye Center of North Florida offers the most advanced cataract surgery using lifestyle lens implants, which allow you to see all distances glasses-free. Our surgeons perform this quick and painless procedure at our accredited surgery center. When it comes to your vision, trust your local experts in surgical eye care. The Eye Center of North Florida.
9 doctors, 1 vision, yours. Bill Kramer Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC is Panama City's exclusive full-line dealership, built on a 45-year foundation of trust and total customer satisfaction in all departments, including our huge pre-owned department, where we'll pay top dollar for your current automobile as a trade-in, or we'll place your vehicle on our lot and help you sell it. At Bill Kramer Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. 4 decades, 3 generations, 1 tradition.
Hi, I'm Paul Flagg with Professional Fiberglass and Marine Service. We offer all types of boat repair, fiberglass work, bottom painting, detailing, buffing. If your gel coat's looking dull, we can get that boat looking good for you again. We also offer a pickup and delivery service, and we have trailers that you can use if we are going to work on your boat, and we can come and get your boat for you. We can be reached at 850-960-9054, or you can reach us on the web at profiberglassmarine.com.
We are so lucky to live in North Florida. We have some of the best fresh and saltwater fishing in the world. My biggest problem is not catching fish, but trying to decide what kind of fish I want to catch. No matter what I'm after, I always stop at Sunjammers Water Sports first. They have just what I need: rods and reels, line, tackle, and most important, live bait. Yes, sir, we sure are lucky.
Welcome back and welcome Captain Ken Paramore.
Good morning. Good morning.
FWC, and always great to have him on.
Thank you.
We always run out of time, so we're going to get started.
And sometimes we need an hour.
I know it. Let's talk about trout fishing. There's some changes on the horizon, it looks like.
Right. There's a commission meeting in November. I think it's November 16th, but it's mid-November, and they're going to be finalizing the spotted sea trout rule, which it looks like they will probably do away with the winter closure on a spotted sea trout, or what we call speckled trout, which historically has been closed during the month of February. And if passed, and we don't know yet, but it looks like it's headed that direction, we won't have a winter closure any longer on speckled trout. So for those people who fish in the wintertime for speckled trout, it'll be a benefit, for them. So it'll be something that we haven't had in the last number of years. Yeah. It's always been closed during that month of February.
But now here locally, I know everybody talks about the steam plant canal. It's not a very well kept secret because fish just pile up in there. That will still be protected area in the wintertime. They're not going to be able to keep any of those fish.
As you know, historically, those trout go to warmer water during the winter. The creeks, prior to the steam plant canal, it was the creeks, Burnt Mill and Crooked Creek and Sandy Creek. That water's warmer. And then, of course, when steam plant, that's the discharge canal for the power plant, so it's warmer there, and that's where they go. But it won't affect that. It'll still be catch and release in there because that's a geographical closure, rather than a seasonal closure.
So don't think about going in there.
No, they'll still have to release them there.
I know y'all are in there a lot. I know. Okay, now another thing too. We're talking about before the show, bears moving around. Blair was talking about coming in from Tallahassee on Highway 20 as obstacle course. Now bears roaming around. I saw a friend of mine on Facebook last week ran into a little cub down around Carabel. So I know your guys seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, and we had a cub run over on Highway 22 between Callaway and Weewaw just the other day.
Okay.
They're in that transition period now from the acorns are on the trees and dropping. They're foraging for getting ready for their winter semi-hibernation because they don't truly hibernate here like they do in northern states. But they still do get into a hibernation type mode where they feed a whole lot before wintertime, and they gorge themselves on acorns primarily. And they're moving. We had one in Cedar Grove just the other morning, had a complaint of one in town. So, they're moving, they're in garbage cans, they're in bird feeders, and just beware that when it gets a little bit colder, hopefully they'll gravitate back to the woods and they'll be aggravating to the hunters because they'll be in their deer feeders.
Yeah.
But right now the bears are on the move, and you're subject to see one anywhere.
Yeah. So
just be aware of them, and if they get hit by a car, they get hit by a car. They're it's going to happen.
We were talking also earlier about seasons and all. Florida's in 4 zones, and we brought this poster for them. And this is fascinating to me because we know that your biologists base our season on the deer, on the buck in rut. And I can't help but to look at Zone B. Just seems like a sore thumb sticking there. Explain why that is like that. It's not our area, but it's still just fascinating to buck behavior on Zone B.
Several years ago, our agency did a deer chronological study on the rut. The hunters statewide wanted to be able to hunt the rut where they lived. And in South Florida, the rut, can be in August or September. So that study revealed that in that part of the state where that zone is their rut. So they carved out that section to try to gear everybody's opportunity to be able to hunt during that area's rut. Now, we all know that the rut does change by a few weeks either way sometimes, depending on weather or whatever's going on that time. But primarily we know that our rut is during a certain period, during the month. And so the seasons now are geared towards the rut, or at least lasting into or through the rut. And that zone, which was B, I believe, that's kind of when they have their rut down there.
And that's odd too, isn't it? Because it seems like it just separates that one little area there, and a small area. But it covers, I know it's hard on your guys because it covers part of counties. It's not a county line anywhere.
I can imagine for the officers down there and the hunters, trying to get exactly where they are and make sure they're not hunting during a close season, south of there or east of there, and then being open, in there. So,
And what if the deer runs across the road? Okay, well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Harold Milling Company, rough and tough dog food. Harold Milling Company builds it. They build hog feed. They build dairy feed. They make chicken feed. They have specialty feeds for rabbits. If you got a worm farm, grandmother used to have a worm farm. Look at the Harold Milling Company. You want to go down and get the dog's not running anymore. That's all over with. You want to get that 16% and drop down from the 26% protein. You don't want over to get fat. Harold Milling Company, you can buy it almost any feed store in the Panama City area.
Captain's Cove Marina, designed with fishermen in mind. Easy access to the best fishing along Florida's forgotten coast. Deep sea fishing, fly fishing from a kayak, cruising endless miles of bayous, bays, and the intercoastal waterway. Count on the captain's crew to work hard to make your day on the water the best ever. Captain's Cove Marina, 1617 Grouper Avenue, Port St. Joe, 850-227-3357.
On down to Blue Water Outrigger, where you'll always find friendly service, fresh and saltwater fishing rods, top of the line men's and women's apparel. Don't forget to pick up your live baits and let us help you with all your outdoor needs. Check out our wide selection of top quality reels and hunting necessities and everything in between. Come see us or order online. We'll be waiting for you right next door to Piggly Wiggly, Port St. Joe.
Panama City Beach is known as one of the top dive destinations in Florida. Divers Den offers daily dive charters that can accommodate up to 13 divers. Our boat captain is U.S. Coast Guard certified and a PADI dive instructor. We have trained professionals who offer a variety of scuba certifications. Come see us at our 2 locations on Thomas Drive and Tyndall Parkway.
Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with Captain Ken Paramore. Let's take a look at this picture first. A nice picture by our own Tom Gurley. This is out at the state park, and it's a beautiful picture. Some fawns there, great color. Tom Gurley always takes great pictures, and took them this weekend. And that leads us into our next part of our conversation, Ken. We have night hunters always want to take advantage of everything, and some of the low life that we have in the area. But I got this report last night. Of course, you knew about it, but up in Jackson County, it's a page and a half long report. But y'all had extensive investigation up there on some night hunters.
We did. we received some information about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that up off of Highway 2, North Jackson County, there was some night hunting going on, and our officer, Mike Guy, worked it several nights, backed up and sat and watched, and sure enough, on one of these nights, this car came in and started shining peanut fields, and he was able to slow trail them or follow them, and they went to like 3 or 4 different fields, and they'd shine the headlights of the car out in the field, and on that particular night they didn't shoot, but he stopped them, and he did have a night hunting, deer hunting violation at the time anyway, so they had a 30-30 rifle in the car, and the trunk of the car was lined with plastic, so obviously that's where the deer was going to go, and had a 30-30 rifle, had a spotlight in there, but we're using the headlights of the car.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was 3 of them in the car, got them separated, and did some questioning, and they admitted to killing up to 11 deer in the couple weeks prior to that. Mm-hmm. And the investigation led them up to almost into Dothan. Alabama Fish and Wildlife were called. They came and helped. They did some interviews up there on a 4th person who had been involved but wasn't with them that night, and ended up seizing a bunch of deer meat, some antlers and horns. They went and showed them where they dumped the carcasses that they'd cleaned. So the investigation wrapped up. They got charged with night hunting that particular night. We met with the state attorney late last week and early this week and filed some additional charges on some other deer that they had done previous to us catching them. And they're facing some pretty, they charge them with criminal mischief for driving all through the peanut field and damaging the peanuts plants, trespassing, taking deer at night, and so they pretty much got a rough road ahead.
I read they're from Alabama, right? They came across.
They were sitting at home, up somewhere between Jackson County and Dothan.
Yeah.
And we're watching
the video,
monster buck videos, and decided they were going to go out and do that and try to find a monster buck at night.
Those are not some of our finer citizens right there.
No, we sort of wish they would stay in Alabama.
But I like the way y'all separated them in separate rooms, and then one of them spilled the guts, and I guess once that happens, it's like a domino, and I guess that's just like you see on TV.
And, one doesn't know what the other one gave up, so they end up pretty much all coming clean.
And this particular night, I saw it was 2 guys and a girl was with them.
2 guys and a girl, and we ended up getting the 4th guy who didn't come that particular night, but who had been a part of it. And it's a shame because those deer belong to the state of Florida ultimately, but they're also a part of someone's land or hunting lease in that area that that are removed. So.
But what the good part about it goes back to some good citizens giving y'all a tip.
We did. We received information, not so much on these people, but that this was going on, late at night in these areas of these peanut fields, and it was true. I mean, it worked out.
That's good. I know you guys always talk about being in the field. They see a lot of game taken and all, legally, of course, and all, and we're talking about dove season, and it's sort of had mixed reports. The first phase hadn't been a really good season, has it? Seems like
we got mixed reports. There were some people that had some good shoots that we either checked the field or heard about that were legal fields, But in order to have a legal field, you've got to start planting in summertime, and then you've got to do your either mowing or your let it top out, so it's got to be to where the field's ready by that first phase. It was hot during the first phase. We did have a few cases of people hunting overbait during the first phase, so they had kind of sweetened it up with some cracked corn and other stuff. But it was a relatively slow first phase overall. Maybe the second phase will be a little bit better. We do have some migratory birds that do come down. The cold fronts will push them, but a lot of our doves here are resident birds, and I think that's what they're finding is not so much of a migratory influx, especially during the first phase anyway, as opposed to the later phases.
I have a phrase I use with my students to describe these people that shoot over the baited fields and to go hunt night hunting and all. and I tell them these are not our rocket surgeons. They get a kick out of that.
No, and you know
what?
What we tell them, you know, you got to do what you can afford, and sometimes it gets pretty expensive to do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we've got some good pictures of a nice fish. One of our viewers called. We're going to take our final break and come back with our times and also these pictures. We'll be right back.
The greatest investment we can all make.
Handle your IRA rollover. Protect your family with life or long-term care insurance. Call my dad for an appointment at his new office on Wilson Avenue behind Lowe's. And he'll give you a copy of his most recent book, 7 Steps to Serious Money. For free! Walter Woodrick, your serious money advisor!
My name's Captain Rick Corley. I'm a SAMS accredited Marine Surveyor, NAM certified Marine Surveyor, and IAME certified Marine Investigator. Been surveying since 1969. Was taught by my father, who is the oldest, longest practicing Marine Surveyor in the world. We do all types of survey, commercial or pleasure. Steel, aluminum, fiberglass, wood, makes no difference. Give us a call at 850-527-5287 or visit us online. We'd appreciate your visit.
When you think of a successful hunting season, two things come to mind: Browning and C&G Sporting Goods. Browning is the best there is, and C&G Sporting Goods is your factory direct, full-line Browning dealer. C&G stocks Browning guns, camo, knives, scopes, gun safes, bows, and much more, including hunting and fishing license. Look over the new Browning BAR camo short track and X-Bolt rifles. Why pay good money for anything less than a Browning? Browning and C&G, the best there is. Home of the experts.
You see the chores and ask, how can I do this? At Kubota, we see the utility vehicle and say, this is how you do it. With a smooth running diesel engine, a durable hydrostatic transmission, power steering, and four-wheel drive, you'll never look at a utility vehicle the same way again. The Kubota RTV 900 utility vehicle. You gotta see this for yourself.
See and save on all Kubota tractors and equipment at Sowell Tractor today.
Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at Express Lane Fishing Game Forecast for today, brought to us by Express Lane, American owned and operated. And you will notice there's only one time today, and we're looking at 12:16 to 2:16, right in the middle of the day. Tell you, boss, you want an extra hour for lunch, Ken, so you'll be up there close to. Now, your office, where exactly your office is?
The office I'm out of is on the naval base.
Naval base, and Stan Kirkland's up at Deer Point Lake.
He's at Deer Point.
Yeah.
It's called our field office.
Okay. Bill Allen really good about sending pictures, and Bill's an excellent fisherman. Took his brother-in-law fishing with him. That's Don Allen's brother, and they had a good, some nice trout they caught this past weekend. This is a 23-inch trout. They caught several. They caught quite a few, and earlier they caught them on top water. And he wanted some fish, and Bill usually releases his, but his brother-in-law wanted to keep some of these trout and flounder. Nice flounder. They were caught, all of them over 17 inches long, some of them 23, and like I say, top water. And then later on in the day, they caught them on a swim bait. All right, good job.
Nice mess of fish there.
You know, that made a nice little fish fry right there. You were talking, this is interesting. You always get interesting calls, I guess, but one about a transmitter and the arrow. You got that? Tell us about that.
I did. I got a call yesterday and had to do some research to figure it out, but the guy called and asked if it was legal to put a transmitter in his arrow, so when he shot a deer, he would have a receiver, and the transmitter would send back to the receiver, and it would help him find his deer. And there's no prohibition against it, but I got to thinking afterwards, after I told him there was no prohibition and he could do that. I didn't know there was such a thing available, but I guess there is, where you would have to have your transmitter inside your arrow, which is small diameter, and not have it affect your trajectory on your arrow. But if you got a pass-through on a deer, what they call a pass-through, which is the arrow goes clean through the deer, your arrow's going to be in the ground, and it would help you retrieve your arrow, but you may not find your deer. But if the arrow stayed in the deer, and I guess if the thing worked, it would help you track your deer. But the bottom line was there's no prohibition against it, but I'd never heard of it either. So
that's interesting. I know you're like me. You look through a lot of these outdoor magazines, and have you ever seen anything like that?
No, but you know, with technology today, I'm sure it's out there or it's possible, but not a bad idea. I don't know how you'd get something so small in that arrow and not affect the flight of the arrow.
Well, yeah. You look at how it affected the dog hunting in recent years. I know way back in the day when we all went, you know, your dogs get lost for a day or two, but now your dog just don't, with that radio transmitter and all, you're going to know exactly where they are. I went this past year for the first time in years, and I was just amazed at technology.
Yeah, you know, they had to kind of go to that to keep track of their dogs, to keep them from getting on somebody else's. So
they flat sure know where they are. They're telling me, you know.
And I guess you could apply the same thing to an arrow, and but it's legal to use if anybody uses them or wants to get one. I don't know where you would get one from, but
that is interesting.
It was a call that I'd never taken anyway.
I know it, but I can see that coming.
Right.
And like I say, most time we'll go through, but it may stick sometime.
Sure.
Okay, I got a minute or two left. We got duck season coming up pretty soon. I was looking on here. People always asking about duck season. On the poster, we got November the 19th through 27th. So that's going to be.
That'll probably encompass that Thanksgiving week before the weekend, and then I think there'll be a closure, and then it opens back up in another kind of phase of it, which is traditional for the duck season.
I know your guys. It's amazing at the variety of activities they have to cover. I mean, I know they're just getting out of counting scallops all summer. And now,
the Gulf County guys.
Now they're having to check these night hunters. I mean, they have to be so flexible in what they do.
You know, squirrel will be somewhere around November 12, 11.
Yeah, the 12th.
The river will be busy with that. The dove, the second phase of dove will be in.
Yeah.
The Thanksgiving weekend is busy. We still have kingfish and mackerel and flounder, trout and redfish, and some boating still. Yeah. So it's just a juggling act, you know, between the guys. But it keeps them busy, and there's never a dull moment. So at least they don't get bored.
Yeah, they don't do the same thing every day, do they?
No, it's always something different.
All right. Well, Ken, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Always great
being here.
Always great having Ken on. And like I say, having questions, let us know. We'll get them answered for you. And meanwhile, we got to get out of here, and you do something good today for somebody, and do something outdoors. Weather is gorgeous. So enjoy yourself, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.